Hello friends, it's Lindsay Satterfield here on the productivity page, Power page. I want to talk to you today about being tired. I have a question for you. Is working from home making you tired? So I want to come here to tell you a few things that might be able to fix that. So first of all, I want to just talk about this issue that I've heard a lot of. Almost everyone I've spoken to has mentioned how tired they are in this new situation of working from home suddenly, where everyone's under the same roof. And what I want to say about that to begin with is that this is completely, or to a large degree, under our own control. So I don't want us to think that it's a given that if you work from home under these, let's be real, strained circumstances, under these difficult circumstances, that it's a given that you must be tired, that it's going to cause you to be tired. So it's really in our hands how we handle it. But what it means, the idea of being tired is a signal. It's telling us we need to shift things up. We need to do some different things. So this is, I've mentioned before, the athlete's model, the performance model of productivity. So we see something happening. If you have a strained muscle, you notice that. So we have a strained muscle in the sense that we're tired. So now what are we going to put in place to address that tiredness? It's really important that we constantly look for how can I get back in the power seat, instead of having the mindset that working from home under these conditions is tiring. It must be tiring. Got it? Okay, so here we go. I want to talk about, well, first I also want to say that the things I'm going to share with you are not fancy. There is nothing that is going to blow your mind. However, I want to bring them up so that you can see actually how simple tweaks can make a big difference in how you're feeling and how you're performing. So nothing fancy here, no hidden secret. This is really things that you know, but just bringing it forward so you can look at alternatives to how you're working. You know, so much of how we work is unconscious. And so we just do it how we've been doing it. And now we're in a completely new circumstance, and we need to look at, in this new circumstance, how do I address my tiredness, being tired. So I'm going to talk about the basics, then I'll talk about how we approach work or our activities, your mindset, and then meetings, because everyone is tired of the meetings. So here we go. First, the basics. Hi, Leslie. The basics. So we're going to start with very simple, hydration. So get some water. You'd be surprised how so much can be taken care of through hydration. If we are dehydrated, it's just harder to focus. It's harder to be kind. It's harder to do a lot of things. So I recommend that you pay attention to your hydration, obviously to your sleep. Are you sleeping? I have a client who told me she had to stop watching news at 9 o'clock. There was a show that she loved then, but it was affecting her sleep. She couldn't get to sleep after it, even though she really wanted to watch this show. So she had to take that out. Simple changes can make a difference. And now she feels so much better. She's sleeping. Movement. You got to keep moving during this time. We're even in much, our radius of movement is constrained so much that we need to be much more conscious of moving. Movement brings oxygen to the brain, and you need that to focus on your work, to use that prefrontal cortex. You need oxygen. So think about how you're going to move throughout the day, how you start your day through movement. Is it a walk? Do you go running? Are you exercising? There's tons of free apps out there that you can use. I know the Peloton digital app that I keep mentioning to you, 90 days. It's free for 90 days to check it out. There's lots of things you can do, but be deliberate. Don't think that you're just going to end up moving during the day, because we won't. So you have to really design it into your day. Consider music in the movement, because that can help just uplift your spirit, uplift your perspective, as well as get you moving. and you can make it a family affair as well. Also, nutrition. So the snacking game is real. People are snacking. I am snacking, I've noticed. And so you may want to be a little bit more deliberate about how you're thinking about the food you're eating throughout the day. We have easy access where maybe in an office before you didn't have as much access to various types of food. So you want to just be deliberate about what you're going to have, because that really can impact your energy, your level of tiredness or not. So look at how your nutrition and your snacks. And then again, this is under the basics. We have hydration, sleep, movement, nutrition, all things we know, right? But we need to be deliberate about it because no one is going to make us do any of these things. The other one is breathing. Take a pause, take a breath. You know, we are hearing lots of things that are disturbing. We're thinking about things that can be disturbing. We can feel pressures in various ways. And you may notice you start holding your breath. Your breathing gets more shallow. So if you can just even out your breath, take a few minutes during the day, you'd be surprised. Again, small tweak to help you with this challenge of being tired. Okay, so those are the basics. Hydration, sleep, movement, nutrition, breathing, all things you know. Let's just be deliberate about it. Now, let's talk about your approach to your work. So if you're working from home, you want to make sure you have office hours. Now, they may change, but you want to look at, given your circumstances, whether you have kids at home, whether there's other adults at home, just whatever your situation is, what are your office hours? And try to be deliberate about them. Create a transition in and a transition out. Do you walk around the block? You know, we don't have a commute time, right? So we're commuting maybe 10 feet. So you might want to, that commute is a kind of transition into work activity. So you might want to think about what kind of transition can I make into work? Do I walk around the block? Do I have a little dance session? What is it that I do that moves me from not working to working? And the same at the other end of the day. Now, if you have a workspace that you can't close a door to, then I recommend you find a way to cover it up. Because when, I was just I was doing the Work From Home Productively webinar, and someone mentioned that there are 4 adults that are all working from home in her household. And so she's working from home in her bedroom. Nice, right? So she's working from home in her bedroom. I imagine many of you may be doing that as well. And she said, so then I just see it all the time. And then when I'm trying to go to sleep, all I can think about is my work. Understandable. Our things in our environment cue our focus. So I recommend that if you can't shut the door to your work, that you cover it in some way. I had another person that took the webinar, and she initially said, "Oh, I'm not gonna cover it up. Like, that's silly, right?" So she later reached out to me and said, "Guess what? I'm covering up my work, and it makes a big difference." Again, small action for a big result. Okay, so cover or close. One priority for the day. Now, I'm not saying that you'll only do one thing a day, but get clear on priorities. If nothing else, this time is teaching us about priorities. We tend to want to do everything, be all things to all people or all projects. This is the time to get focused. And so for each day, know that one thing that you want to accomplish that day. You'll have the rest of your list, but prioritize that throughout the day. Keep your focus strong on that and start with that. Think about time boxing, working in segmented periods of time and putting a timer on your phone. Time box your work and just work through a session, 25 minutes, 40 minutes, and then take a break, a pause, move, breathe, do whatever. That can help you, that kind of heightened focus, not just thinking you're going to have to do it throughout the day, but go ahead and really try to time box what you're doing, pause, rest, walk, move, breathe, drink water, and then start again. So that's time boxing. Keep it small. Batch your work. It's very hard. Task switching is hard on the brain. So you want to think about batching your work, similar kinds of things. If you have meetings sort of sprinkled throughout the day, it can be very hard to switch your focus up to more focused work, then talking to people, then doing some administrative things or email. So try and chunk out your day as much as you can towards similar types of activities. Or think about maybe this is the day of the week that I focus on my coaching calls or whatever it is that you do. So batch your work. That can help you from feeling spread too thin and exerting extra energy from task switching so much. Then just pause throughout the day. As I mentioned, if you do that time boxing, you can pause throughout the day. I'm always saying to my clients, go slow to go fast. We kind of get ahead of ourselves. Pull it back, listen a little, take a walk. It's all going to be there, and you're going to be able to be more focused, more energized if you build that into your routine, to the way you work. So that's a little bit about approach. So we talked about the basics. We've talked about some things you can do for your approach. Let's talk about your mindset, because your thoughts are really going to make a difference in terms of your energy level during this time. One of the things that you want to think about is attaching to meaning in some way during this time. This is a very, very challenging time for everyone, and for many people very, very significantly. So you want to see how during this time, how can I use this to rise? How can I find meaning? Is it that I'm getting more connected with my family members? Is it that I'm going to really work on some aspect of my work that's going to help people? Whatever it is, figure out how you're going to use this to rise. I've been looking at my finances. I want to get better at how I'm managing my finances. I'm going to use this to rise, right? When you do that, you connect to meaning, which is part of that neurochemical cocktail for motivation, meaning. Find some meaning if you can. Find it through being giving to others, through helping. I know I have a client who is, in her spare time, she's making face coverings for people and bringing them to various places, to nursing homes and different places. It's her way to contribute, to find meaning during a challenging time. And when you can do this, you start to demonstrate that you have a growth mindset. And I believe it's only a growth mindset that's going to get us through this time. Okay, so focus on what you can control. So I have an exercise that I do for myself, and I recommend it to my clients, which is simply get out a sheet of paper, and on one side, write all the things that you can control, that are in your control, and on the other, the things that are outside of your control. We tend to obsess about things we cannot control. And when we feel out of control, we get tired, and we lose our motivation. And motivation is kind of a signal of our level of energy. You know, when you feel really motivated, you feel energized. When you are not motivated, you do not feel energy. So you want to, another piece, meaning is one piece of motivation, control is another. And there's always something that we can do. We can control how we're looking at things. We can control our own actions. So look at what you can control and what you can control, and then keep refocusing. You may need to put that paper nearby because you might find your mind going towards that other column. So focus on what you can control. Be conscious. This is all in the mindset, motivation piece. Be conscious of what your mind is consuming. What is your mind consuming? So we talked about nutrition and maybe not having chips all day because that may affect your energy. What you're consuming, the information you're consuming will also affect your energy. So look at that. What am I consuming? Look at your news consumption. Look at your news sources. Look at your social media consumption. Who are you following? Are you following people that are creating division and divisiveness and alarm, or are you following people who are looking at the situation realistically and productively? Who are you going to and following and listening to? That's important. What podcasts are you listening to? So put that all in perspective. Have a simple joy list. Keep a list of things that you enjoy doing that are simple, brief. You can just go have a cup of coffee, arrange some flowers, whatever it is. I have a friend who loves to cook, so she's been making cookies for people and then putting them on their porches in a safe and hygienic way. So whatever it is that gives you joy, make sure you're doing at least one of those things every day. That will up-level your energy, keep you from being tired, because enjoyment is a factor in how tired we are or how energized we are. And then think about taking this time to learn something new that you're interested in. Learning in that growth mindset makes us more energized. It allows us to be more optimistic if we are in the learning mode. So those are the things for your mindset and your motivation. And last but not least, I just want to say a few things about meetings. So I have heard a few little horror stories about, and the thing that comes up the most around being tired is being on these screens and these Zoom calls or WebEx calls or whatever your mode is all day. And I have a sort of belief, I guess, something I've kind of looked at as to why is this happening. People are on these really long, they're just meeting all the time in these video meetings. And I think it's because this is all so new to us that we cling to what it is that we remember. Oh, we remember meetings because we were in way too many meetings to begin with, right? And we're even taking some of our not so productive habits from before and just installing them into our routine as we're working from home, and we're hanging in these long meetings on Zoom, etc. So here's what I want to say. For your meetings, see if as a team you can identify sort of meeting times and segment that. Because if you have meetings literally all day, or you're in and out of meetings all day, you will get tired. It's just what's going to happen. Also, think about cutting your meeting time, like whatever you think we normally do, in half, okay? So if you have a 90-minute meeting, which no one should have 90-minute meetings, but anyway, if you have a 90-minute meeting, make it 45 minutes. If you figure out how to constrain it, that's going to help you amp up the focus and the effectiveness of your meeting. If you have these long meetings, people are going to go around, you're going to lack the focus, so constrain the time of your meetings. The other thing that a constrained meeting will do for you is it will force you to perhaps limit the focus of the topics for the meeting. When you just put everything under the sun in a meeting time, people start to get fatigued listening to all the different content or all the different topics. So you want to make sure that you're keeping a tight focus and it's really clear what you want the outcome of this meeting to be. What is the outcome of this meeting and what is the type of meeting? Is it to brainstorm? Is it to decide? Is it to share information? And why are you sharing this information? What is the impact of this meeting? Does it matter? Can it be done another way? Please, could it be? So that's that. And make sure you're engaging everyone in your meetings. I believe it's better to be on the video. A lot of people like to be incognito, which is fine, but I think you put everyone on sort of an equal playing field if they're all using the same media. And you take in more information when you can see people's faces. You want to make sure that you're hearing from everyone in a meeting, not just delivering information all the time as I'm doing here. This is not a meeting. Okay, so those are a couple things. Shorten up your meetings. Really be conscious that people cannot be in these meetings all day. Try and segment when you have meetings. So we have talked about the basics, all those things: breathing, sleep, motivation, movement, your approach, get some office hours, pause throughout the day, time box, batch your work. Your mindset, find meeting, find control. Your meetings, make them shorter. So all those things, none of those are rocket science. None of those are surprising or shocking or a secret. They all are things that we know, but here's the time that we need to take our capacity, our agency, to make sure we aren't tired all day. It's really in our hands. So figure out how we can do that. I know there are other extenuating circumstances that may come into play that we'll have to adjust to and do our best, but I want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can do before we decide, oh, it's just a fait accompli, we're all going to be tired working from home. We don't have to be. There are things we can do, and those are a few of them, and I'd love to hear from you. What are you doing to keep yourself energized during this time when we're all under the same roof, working from home? And I'd love to hear what your tips are for that. Also, I am doing another Work From Home Productively webinar. It's going to be next Thursday, and I'll put the information in the comments. Again, it won't be rocket science, but what I hope to provide to everyone is a framework for thinking about working from home during this turbulent time. So there's some extenuating circumstances to us working from home right now. So I'm addressing that, and I want to give you a framework and as many techniques and tools as I possibly can to help you find the right way for yourself. Like, we don't need to do it all. You don't need to do all the things I just said. Do 2 of them, do 3 of them, and start to experiment with your own performance, your own productivity. And that's it. So that's next Thursday, 12 to 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. I will put the information in the comments. I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're finding some energy, and let me know if you try any of these tips. Have a great day.